Hello, it's T. Hoffman, and it's time for another 10-minute tip from T. I want to talk to you today about why some lawyers never make partner in their law firms. Now, there are a lot of great lawyers out there, and many of them are very talented and they're very skilled, but for whatever reason, they don't make partner. And I really believe that if lawyers understood what it takes to make partner from the very beginning, even in law school, they would be more focused and more successful in becoming partners in firms. But a lot of lawyers never really understand what it takes. They think as long as I'm a great lawyer, in other words, I understand all the basics of practicing law, I'm knowledgeable in the law, that, hey, I'm going to make partners someday. But that is no longer the case. There are many things that go into making partner. A couple of those include, for example, your performance and productivity. Law firms are businesses, and so they promote lawyers to partner based on their performance and their productivity and their ability to generate business. So if a lawyer consistently underperforms, let's say they don't meet their hourly requirements, or they fail to meet the firm's expectations in regards to collections, or they're not involved in the community when the firm actually expects them to be involved, or they're not actually going out and meeting and generating clients for the firm. Those are all reasons that you may not make partner at your firm. And I know that many of those things may be difficult to do, but they are expectations of most firms today. Many other firms really require business development skills and productivity in order to become partner. I know the firm I was in required a certain amount of business development activity and revenue to be generated. And so those skills go beyond your legal skills. They're more about your social skills, your soft skills. But lawyers that need help with business development should never be afraid to ask for that help. There are a million different training videos, YouTube videos, sales books, marketing books, ways that you can find out on your own how to develop business without even going to the law firm and asking for help if you don't want to do that. But law firms should be doing that for their lawyers as well. Then, of course, there's firm culture. Some firms, for example, are influenced by internal politics and dynamics and things that may be outside of your control. And that could be why you don't make partner. And then, quite frankly, there are some firms that don't have room for more partners. In other words, they don't desire to have more partners. They have a lot of associates, and the partners are all income partners, and they don't want to divide the pie up anymore. That could be another reason that you don't become partner. And then I will tell you that recently there have been a lot of people that I have known that just didn't desire to be partner. It's a life choice for them. They enjoy practicing law, but they don't want to do the business development and the networking and the generating clients or generating the hours. They love the academia of the practice of law. They like writing. They may like doing appellate work, and those people may not ever become partners, but they're still very important to law firms today. So understanding what it takes to become a partner in your firm on the front end is critically important. Law firms really need to do a better job in hiring and making sure that they are communicating those expectations on the front end, because many firms go after those, law review, top 5% of your class folks, when the reality is not every client out there wants the top of the class lawyer. They actually want somebody who they can have a conversation with. They want somebody who talks in their language. And most of your clients, believe it or not, don't know whether you are a top law school grad or a 50% percentile law school grad, okay? And most of them wouldn't know very excellent legal work from good legal work. They just want to make sure that you can help them solve their problem. So understand that most law firms don't have to hire the top of the class, and when they choose not to maybe hire the top of the class and they communicate the expectations of business development and networking, for example, they may be getting better candidates long term for partnership than if they hired the top of the class and someone who may not have any of those skills or possess those qualities or even desire to excel in those things. But regardless, up front, interviews, very upfront, you should be saying, here's what our expectations are for you to become partner in this particular firm, and set out those hourly requirements, what the business development demands are in your particular firm, how hard you expect them to work. Are you going to come in on the weekend? Are you going to have this, infinite life work balance? Are you going to get to work remotely? All those things should be set out on the front end. And I really encourage firms to do personality test and social styles test on their candidates before they enter the firm. You can find out so much about people by doing these types of assessments, and you can do them online and let people know up front that you want them to take these tests. It's not a pass-fail thing. There's no right or wrong personality style or right or wrong social style. But I will tell you, if you've got a whole group of drivers, for example, social style wise in your firm, and you have somebody who you bring into the firm who is not a driver, they're probably not going to fit in. So those kinds of things are important for firms to do as well. The other thing I would encourage firms to do from day one is start with those business development training sessions and seminars, because what you want them to understand, and granted, law schools still don't normally teach these skills, is that business development is an important part of the practice of law today. It just is. All right, so the sooner you can get them started thinking about how to use social media, how to build their LinkedIn profile, how to stay connected with their law firm classmates, all of those things are important, because if they can continue to keep connections, for example, with their law firm classmates, they have a ready network of referral sources, for example. If they learn how to use LinkedIn and how important it is to stay in contact and actually post things on LinkedIn, they'll have more visibility and they start creating their own personal brand. So I'm not telling you to send them out to a networking event or do a speech their first year perhaps, but make sure that they're getting exposure to some business development training or soft skills training that first year, and make sure also that they have a mentor that they can follow and go to places with and learn how that particular person performs in a networking environment, because they can develop their own style, or they can actually kind of be introduced to other people through that mentor and maybe even mimic that mentor style as they move forward. Now, professional development programs like workshops and understanding how to work as a team, that's another thing I think is really important for lawyers to learn at a very early age, because you're going to be working together in practice groups, you're going to be working together on litigation matters, all those kinds of things. And I will tell you, an impediment to being a partner is somebody who doesn't want to work with others. They don't play well with others. So when you're thinking about your professional development program, make sure you're developing lawyers who are great team players and understand the dynamics of working as a team. And also give your lawyers some incentives and recognition. There's nothing better than being recognized at a luncheon for the efforts and the time that you're putting in, an incentive for actually going out and doing something. And I'm not talking about necessarily even money, but give them something that they would find valuable. For example, for going out and doing some of the things that the firm requires and expects of them. And finally, I will tell you, ongoing evaluations. Never let people wait a year. If they're not performing well in the first 6 months, they need to know it within 4 or 5 months. What could they be doing better? Don't leave them hanging. I have so many firms out there who have lawyers who are not performing well, and they just keep them year after year after year, and everybody knows they're not performing well. And what does that say to everybody else? Well, listen, if you don't perform well, you're going to get to hang around, right? So make sure you're doing ongoing evaluations, and you're really making sure people who aren't performing understand what they need to do in order to perform and meet the expectations that the firm has set out, And if they're not going to meet those, they need to go and find another position somewhere else, because I promise they'll be happier and you'll be happier. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this 10-minute tip, and I hope you'll join us next time for another 10-minute tip by T.